it's your girl Sherry Lynn, and you're watching Sweep the League on Alamo City Podcast Network.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League.
What is up? It is a new time here for Sweep the League. It's 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. We're about 2 hours after what we normally start, but we're trying a new time slot here. Like I've read before, work gets in the way of some stuff, so we kind of have to push it back. But we'll be more than happy to be your afternoon drive home from work. From here on out, that'll make Coach Gio coming on as well. Today we got the Rock on. We'll see if Derek Irvin's going to be back tomorrow, Wednesday and Fridays when he's scheduled to be back on. So we've got a lot to talk about, man. It's going to be awesome. We've got a couple of draft things we're going to get into some basketball talk, maybe a little bit of March Madness and whatever the hell else comes up. But let's bring on the crew here. We've got Coach Gio. We've also got the Rock himself. We've got a full cast of people, and I got to fix this because we're always like doing this thing wrong here. So, gentlemen, it's new time. It's 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Gio's like loving this time. I'm actually kind of loving this time too. Rock loves it even more because he gets off work way earlier and he can be in the show now. So, how y'all liking it? Y'all liking this afternoon drive stuff here?
Yeah.
Loving it. Tim Gonzalez, dude. Let's go, yes, sir. Blue Devils, Tar Heels still suck. Join the bracket.
Tim does that every show.
Oh,
he does every show.
It's not Sweep the League if Tim doesn't do that. That's for damn sure. But, Tim's right. Join our bracket. We have our bracket that I posted. I'll share it out again here. I filled out mine. So my national championship winner is actually the Arizona Wildcats. I have them beating the Carolina Tar Heels in their bracket, but I also have them beating the Houston Cougars.
What kind of fan are you? I mean, you picking against your own team, Rudy?
I will, if I feel that my team sucks, then I will definitely pick against them. As I picked against everybody that I picked, pretty much everybody that played against Atlanta this past year. So, growing the beard, I got to grow the beard. I don't know if I can pull the beard. Now, Gio's got a pretty beard. You got a pretty. He does. I can't get that beard look. Now, if I'm looking at it correctly,
Rudy, you have it.
No, but
you gotta grow it out.
You've got the fucking Bin Laden going here, but you have it like they shaved right here. Is that right? Do you have it shaved right here?
Yeah, to a certain extent, yeah.
But you got the chunch going right below your chin. That's all that is.
Rudy, just go a whole year without shaving.
Just do it, Rudy.
Hey,
and it's gonna work out because I can see you have it there. It's just
I'm trying, but you know what? It starts to itch really bad, and I'm probably gonna shave tomorrow morning. More than
keep it, man. It looks good. A different look.
I'll do it in November for No Shave November. I'll do it.
That's just 1 month. That's not enough. You gotta do.
Yeah, Rudy, you gotta dedicate yourself.
You know what? I'm not dedicated to no shave, man. I gotta shave. It's just bad. But I can't even go with the Rocks. You know, what is it? Gomez Adams look down there. I mean,
man, I had a shave because I fucked up when I was lighting myself up, and then my girlfriend got back from vacation, and she was so mad I shaved my face.
But okay, so I could never be the one to shave. You just shave the top part of the stash and just leave the bottom? I mean,
yeah, man. I gotta look something. Yeah, at least something there.
Okay. Well, I don't get the kids' way of doing things like that these days, but you do look like Gomez Adams, man. Man, just breaking some news real quick here. Mike Williams is a Jet. He just signed I think a 1-year deal with the New York Jets.
15 mil.
15 mil. So how much of a contender, Gio, does that make the Jets right now? Say Rodgers stays healthy. That's the key.
Well, Mike has to be healthy too. The man's been in and out of the lineup the last few years. I think it's a good move for the Jets. He's going to make $15 million, and probably a lot of that's incentives. Of course, obviously, having to play a number of games. I think it's a good move for the Jets. But history would tell you he's bound to be healthy at least one time, right? Like he just seems to be getting nicked up. I think he did play one full year a few years ago. But yeah, no, I think it's a good move for the Jets. A team that's trying to put together something. They did sign the tackle from the Cowboys for a 1-year deal. Was it something Smith? What is his first name?
Tyron.
Oh,
Yeah,
Tyron.
yeah. So, hey, maybe they got a run going, but I don't look. Aaron Rodgers is doing. He's talking about other things besides football lately. So I don't know what's gonna happen there. They're not too happy about him and the whole Sandy Hook thing he said a few weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah, we try not to get political in here, but we understand what Rogers. That's you know what? It's one of those things where you have your opinion, leave it for yourself. I don't really get into any of that kind of stuff, but the potential of even Odell Beckham, Gio, saying that he wants to be a Jet. So you kind of pair an Odell, which I know Odell's not Odell, but you've also got Mike Williams. I mean, you've got Brees Hall running. The offensive line needs a lot of work, which they can shore up the offensive line here in the offseason, even through the draft. I mean, potentially this Jets team could be a team to reckon with in the AFC.
I mean, their defense is good, but I don't
Not much about anything else. Jeez.
I don't know what else. I just we got to see more from them, Rudy. We haven't seen Aaron in quite some time after that first game. He doesn't play the whole year, so I don't know what to expect. But I think if it's the old Aaron, sure, they're going to be right there in the thick of things.
Yeah, Clemson and Florida State wanting to leave the ACC. I don't blame them, man. I mean, everybody was trying to jump out of the ACC, but it's going to be fun to see a lot of these realignments when it comes to college football, especially with them going ahead. Was it 2025, 2026? We're going to see probably 12 team, 18 teams, something like that, 16 teams.
I think 16 in 2026.
16, 2026. I mean, there's only going to be like 4 conferences, bro.
But why did Florida State? I forgot. Why did they leave or attempting to leave again?
Again, I don't know on the reasons why Florida State wants to leave. I mean, it makes no sense. The ACC is going to be one of the bigger conferences. I mean, if you think about it.
I don't know if it's scheduling or just, they want a better brand. I mean, we saw what happened to the Pac-12, right? Or let's say it's the Pac-2. Now, because I think there's only 2 teams in that conference. It's like a lot of those teams. Just imagine this, Rudy. In December, you might have USC going to Minnesota, going to Iowa, and this whole conference thing is just to be out of whack. But the SEC, remember, they're getting Oklahoma and Texas. I'm sure they may get someone else in the next few years. The Big 12 is getting new teams, it seems like, every week. So, yeah, it's the realignment is just kind of a little bit of a mess. But
Texas is about to run the SEC. I'm not going to lie to you. Bama's not going to stop them.
To be fair, Bama lost everything. Their all-time coach. Everything. Georgia's still there, Rudy. It's Georgia. Not like the dogs are going anywhere. They're recruiting. Kirby Smart's going to have them ready to go. We'll see because Georgia's going to Texas this year.
I get the Georgia hype. I really get the Georgia hype. But what is it that Texas against SEC teams? It's just they tend to beat the shit out of SEC teams.
Rudy, it's one thing playing an SEC team every now and then. It's actually playing an SEC team.
You're playing the best SEC team.
I understand that, but playing SEC teams every week, it's a little bit different than getting your team ready once every so often to play a big time opponent. But look, I respect Texas that they have a good brand, all that stuff, and I'm welcoming them to the SEC. Oklahoma, that's the one team I'm not sure how they're going to be in the next few years there. But Texas, look, they're a name. They got the fans. They got the money. They got the money down there. That old money, as I like to say in Texas. So, look, they're going to be competitive too. But Rudy, it's one thing having to play Alabama 1 week and then going on the road against Auburn. It's going to be a different. It's going to be different, Rudy. I'm sorry that your team plays in the ACC. And
no problem there. We'll take
plays some cupcakes every night.
Wow, cupcakes. The all cupcake conference. Is that what you want to call it? The ACC?
Yeah.
Come on. You do. I mean, it's a little disrespectful to Texas just to think that they wouldn't be a dominant SEC team.
I'm not saying. Rudy, all I'm saying is it's going to be different.
Is it tougher? Yes. It's a tougher path to travel through the SEC. I will not disagree with you on that. But you're telling me you go to Bama, then you go to Auburn, then you go, Tennessee. They are bound to lose one of those games. But out of everything that I'm seeing as far as the SEC goes, I think Texas is top 2 going into the conference.
What
Easily.
helps Texas is the playoff expansion. They're going to get in. I mean, you're going to have a number of SEC teams get into the playoffs. So Texas winning a championship, honestly, it's bound to happen, Rudy. I just think the numbers will be on their side.
It definitely will. Rock, we're talking SEC, Texas going over there. This is an unexpected conversation. I don't know why Gio decides to bring up the SEC.
Hey,
he's an SEC boy.
No, I'm for Texas being one of the dominant teams entering the SEC. I mean, especially this year, you have a lot of returning pieces, and you added pieces. The more Texas, kind of gets back into their usual dominance, the more those 5 stars are going to come towards Texas. I mean, like Gio mentioned, you have that money. Texas has the power to get mostly any recruit you want. I mean, if they do good again this year, it's just going to be on a path putting them towards where they get whoever they want. You're going to have those recruits saying, I want to go to Texas. But, I mean, especially this year, the schedule's SEC-wise not that tough. I mean, you look at a Mississippi State, Georgia's the biggest one. They play at Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, then A&M. It's not that bad. I mean, I predicted they'll go in the playoff this year, but they should be in the thick of things.
No, I mean, their schedule's a lot more, a little bit friendly there. Georgia is playing Clemson in the kickoff, Mississippi State, Florida, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and we're probably going to beat Georgia Tech for the 50th time. But anyway, let's
settle down. Settle down, man. Come on. You got to be kidding me. I'm going to bring it up here. We'll bring up the schedule here since we're talking SEC and Texas going into the SEC when it comes to conference play. So, okay, I mean, obviously the CSU game, yeah. Michigan, they're going away. It's at Michigan. Now, again, not the same Michigan team that we saw last year, obviously. I mean, there's a lot of turnover there. UTSA, I'm sorry, Roadrunners, but it's just getting a little bit tougher for you. I mean, they really don't have a challenge until maybe Oklahoma, then Georgia. Those back-to-back games are going to be tough. Now, Gio, because you're the SEC guy, and Rock's kind of getting new to the SEC here, could you legitimately say that I'm correct on this? Because you always say I'm incorrect on a lot of stuff, and I get a couple of things right. But that October 26th game against Vanderbilt, that is a team in the SEC that I always say you cannot sleep on, especially playing in Vanderbilt.
Oh, Vandy. No, I think Texas takes care of business at Vanderbilt. I will say, though, Mississippi State, that's the team. They don't play Ole Miss this year.
Yeah, they don't.
That team's always kind of an interesting team, but Mississippi State, that's an interesting. Now, they're at home. But Florida, as Rock said, it's like their most biggest games are, besides obviously Michigan, are at home, right? I mean, the Oklahoma game, is that neutral site still?
Yep.
And then
the Red River. Yeah.
I mean, the rivalry against Texas A&M, that's finally renewed after so long.
Thank God.
The Razorbacks, depending on how the weather is in Arkansas, I do like the schedule. It is fairly,
it's decent. But there's no reason why they shouldn't. They have maybe one loss next year.
I'm thinking Georgia, Oklahoma. Look, you never know how these rivalry games.
The rivalry games, you just throw them out the door. It's hard.
You just throw them out the door. But Michigan, we don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what Michigan team.
I don't even know if we're going to
get
new coach. And look, it's September 7th in Michigan. The weather's going to be great there. So I don't know what, if anything. But, hey, Kentucky, listen, I was at the Georgia game against Kentucky last year, and I'll say this.
Yes.
Kentucky's quarterback was atrocious. Their offensive line actually stood up pretty well in that game, but Georgia's just eventually the defense just came after them. But the quarterback was horrendous. That's also another game as well. You never know, Rudy, in the SEC. I mean, last year we had Missouri, right? Missouri came not necessarily out of the woods, but Missouri is played Georgia real tough, and they've played a lot of good games last season. I'll say Texas, your schedule is favorable. Florida, I mean, they're trying to get stuff done there. Arkansas could be a slip up there, but overall,
I've got Vandy, man. I've got the Vanderbilt only because it's in Vanderbilt. I mean, it's in Vandy.
The Commodore is going to outsmart as a very smart institution over there. So,
and the reason why I've got it because of this, Gio. You've got the OU game, the Red River rivalry. Say that 20 times really fast, and then you've got Georgia. Those two games, you're either going to probably get Texas going 2-0 in those games, possibly. I mean, it's a very good possibility because Georgia's coming into Austin for that game. And then you're coming off a 2-game high if you're 2-0, and you're going to overlook Vanderbilt because why? Look at the week after. That Vanderbilt game was like scheduling doom right there because you're overlooking that team knowing you've got a Gator team the very next week, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I circled Vanderbilt on the schedule.
That's the thing about the SEC is like 1 week you'll play Georgia, next week you get Alabama, and then you might get a team like Kentucky who maybe not this season very good, but they're going to play you tough. So look, I think Texas, as I've said, they're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. Now the A&M game, as JC just talked about, that could be the game ready too, though. The Texas A&M, that's a rivalry renewed. So Jimbo's not there anymore. They gave his ass the boot. So
man, Rock. The thing with Rock is like Texas. You go from the A&M rivalry. You also had the OU rivalry for years. Now you're getting both of them back. This is the year to, if you're a past Longhorn fan, to just start renewing your fandom. If you're wanting on the fringe of being a Longhorn fan, it's time to just get up because these are the games that we were watching growing up. I know I was watching growing up. Thanksgiving weekend is when, and it's still Thanksgiving weekend when we have the A&M game. You had the bonfire, which, rest in peace, everybody that was hurt in the bonfire. Then they won't be renewing that anymore. But the annual bonfire that A&M had, it was just the rivalry's got to get up for these. But locally with UTSA, I know they're in a bit of a limbo right now at UTSA, but this Texas schedule has to be exciting for Texas fans everywhere.
It is, Rudy. I'm very excited, and as JC says, A&M is going to win. A&M lost so much talent, man. And if I don't remember, correct me if I'm wrong. I remember last time when A&M Texas played, a man named Justin Tucker sent him home crying. But A&M lost so much talent. They're having everyone transfer out. I'm not worried about A&M. And, dude, it as I saw it, once A&M left, Texas always had the scoreboard on them, and they're going to have a scoreboard on them again. But it's exciting. I grew up watching it too, Rudy. As a UT fan, I always looked forward to making fun of A&M fans, like especially my cousins who were all A&M fans. I would make fun of them all the time.
We're going to get all the Aggie jokes again.
Shout out to Tim Gonzalez's
Stop.
North Carolina schedules a bunch of cupcakes. You know what, Tim? I actually happen to have the North Carolina schedule handy, and look who they play.
All right,
now they're at Minnesota, so that's going to be a tough one. But Charlotte, I actually live not too far from that small university, NC Central. James Madison, Rudy, come on.
Hey, I tried scheduling harder games for them. Nobody wanted to play Carolina. Nobody
there you go. That's a tough schedule, Rudy. Real tough.
So I'm expecting maybe loss, win. At Duke, that's definitely a win. Pittsburgh gets up in the air. Georgia Tech up in the air. Virginia, I expect a win in Virginia. Florida State, I expect probably a loss.
I could see 8 wins there, Rudy.
We'll be bowl eligible. I'll just say that. We'll be bowl eligible.
And you're probably going to have another quarterback get drafted too, somehow, some way. It seems Trubisky,
Drake Bay.
It's Mac Brown, man. Brown.
Rudy, are you guys playing a historical college there in North Central? Wait, North Carolina Central? Rudy, what's going on, man?
Man, honestly, we both teams
listen, the last few years, Appalachian State, Rudy, has given your team all it could handle.
Yeah, but I mean, can we bring up the Michigan?
Oh, come on, Rudy.
Fiasco.
Hey.
Come
That
on,
was
hey,
so
don't-
long ago, Rudy. That was
If
like
you're
ancient.
but because it's so happening to Carolina now, I can't bring up Michigan and Appalachian State. I mean, the original upset of all upsets. You won't let me bring that up.
All right, I think I was like in high school, but yes, go ahead.
Everybody was in high school,
Hey,
man.
hey, Rudy. Ask JC who Appalachian State recently beat. I forget. I guess my memory's faulting me.
Uh-oh.
I think it runs with Daddies. I could have swore.
Hey, listen, that stadium there in Carolina is actually very, very nice area.
It is. It is. I have yet to go. I need to go on a field trip per se to North Carolina.
You
and
do it,
go
Rudy.
catch the game. All right. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we try to get this scheduled, Gio? You and I will go see a Duke Carolina game.
Sure,
sometime. We'll do
I'm
that.
open to it.
Okay.
It's probably going to squeeze the pockets pretty hard there, but
Maybe we can do a GoFundMe account and have people help pay us.
well, the 1 year, Rudy, that I was planning on going to see was the Zion when I was living in Carolina. Rudy,
Mhm.
those tickets were just ridiculous. I'm talking about like several $1,000s just to watch a Duke and Carolina game. Now it's probably, I assume, probably a little bit cheaper.
Well, we can't go next year because a basketball game to watch Duke Carolina with Cooper Flag and it's just going to be ridiculous amount of money. So we're definitely not going to go next year. But in a couple of years, we can attempt to go to a Carolina Duke game. But I mean, what do you want? Basketball or do you want football? What do you want to go watch? Or you want to go watch baseball because Duke sucks pretty much everything when it comes
Probably
to baseball.
basketball. I try to at least watch 1 or 2 Georgia games a year. So that'll keep me occupied in the SEC for sure.
Really, Georgia and basketball? It's I mean, that's
No,
all
no,
I can say is
No, I mean football, Rudy. And then basketball, I still Duke's not too. They've played Louisville, which is not too far from me, but I haven't didn't get a chance to make the drive this year to Kentucky, but we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. This is Sweep the League. It is the 4:00 edition, your drive home edition of Sweep the League. We'll be coming to you probably about this time, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time every day now. So kind of change the times, give us a little bit of a break from the midday. Make it your drive home from work. We'll be with you for the next, probably about an hour or so. But we're also going to talk NCAA. I did my bracket. I'm probably going to reveal my bracket because all you cheaters out there want to know who I picked. So,
Yeah, right.
we'll go over my bracket there, and also we've got more NFL. We'll talk some NFL draft talk because it's kind of funny. I tweeted out this morning, Gio, and I don't think I tagged Rock, but I'm gonna let Rock know. Nobody's hearing about what I had talked about one time, Justin Jefferson on the trade block. It's catching a lot of steam now. The possibilities are out there for Justin Jefferson to be on the move either before draft night or on draft night. We'll take a quick commercial break. This is Sweep the League. We'll be right back.
MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business, honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Leha, MCS General Contracting. Thank you for sponsoring the Alamo City Podcast Network. Again, you want to catch Sweep the League, go to the YouTube is what everyone calls it. Subscribe, like, and share. But first, search Alamo City Podcast Network. Smash the subscribe button, like it, share our streams out. The more streams, the better. We're going to get back into the chat here. Hey, Rudy, you and Gio attend next year when Duke and SMU in Dallas. Why the F would I want to go just to a Duke in general game?
Hey, that's what's up, Tim. Hey,
I'm not going to Duke SMU.
what is that? Southern Methodist University, Rudy?
That's right. Aren't they still banned in the college football bowl games or whatever. They had a lifetime ban.
No, I think the Pony Express back
Pony
then
Express.
with Eric
I'm
Dickerson. Dude, that was a good team, Rudy. That was
a
actually
very
a
good team.
ton of stuff. But hey, they're doing what's legal now, Rudy. They're paying their players.
So, all right, I'm gonna get off on a little tandem here for you guys. The whole betting on sports, and now you can make a bet off your phone, all this other stuff. Is it time to just fucking let the fucking shit go and say, you know what, Pete, we made a mistake. You gambled on games in the past, but now it's so part of culture. Allow Pete Rose back into the Hall of Fame. Forget the whole gambling bullshit. You're talking about one of the greatest hitters, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, not in the Hall, because past commissioners have him blackballed because of gambling. Now, like I said, you can blink and put a $500 bet anywhere. You've seen fucking players do it, in today's game. They don't get banned. Are we at the point where we just say F it and let Pete Rose in the Hall?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's time, Rudy. I mean, one of the great hitters. You can't tell the story of baseball without Pete Rose. I just don't see that scenario happening. It's time for baseball to put him in. Baseball is one of those sports, as we all know, it's a pastime. Even the voters, not a huge fan of. First of all, Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame, but we could talk about that another day. But Pete Rose, that topic, it's time. Let him in. He's paid his dues, Rudy. He's been out of baseball for a long time. It's time, baseball. Do the right thing and welcome Pete Rose back. But they probably won't do it for another 10, 15 years.
You know why? Because you've got a bunch of bag and bone motherfuckers that are still voting in this shit. They need people, they need younger guys in there to vote. And I'm going to get it. And then it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You've got guys that are going to vote that don't know who Pete Rose was and everything accomplished and all that stuff. So he still may not get in. It should just be automatic, get in. Barry Bonds is another one that should be in. No doubt about it. Just get these guys in the Hall of Fame. There are some guys that don't deserve it. A la Sammy Sosa. I don't want,
Hey, leave Sammy alone. Hey, he never tested positive for anything.
It doesn't. Okay, so
he
neither
had
did
over
Barry.
600
Neither
home
did
runs.
Barry.
No, and I completely agree. Barry should be in. Sammy should be in. Mark McGwire, I don't think he was not a Hall of Famer before the steroid use.
McGwire, no. I would say McGwire, no.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to take one guy who had the home run streak and all that, I would say no on McGwire.
And Kurt Schilling should be in. He had a lot of politic issues. And Roger Clemens, I'm sorry, I get it. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Roger Clemens, definitely.
I agree.
Yeah, Rock. You got something on the Hall of Fame, Rock?
No, I mean, I agree mostly with Roger Clemens, but going back to, the whole Pete Rose thing, I just think once it becomes, I guess, more legal-wise, law-wise in the U.S., when we get to that day where it's legal everywhere, maybe it'll be accepted. But then I agree with you, these young guys may not know who the hell Pete Rose is. So it's like, who is this guy? Why are we voting him in? We got to focus on our current guys. But even if he got in, I feel like it still won't be accepted by the older generation. They're like, no, we're in our own way.
That's a good point. But then I'm going to counter that point, because if you talk to anybody about baseball, not a non-writer, I mean, even writers from back in the day, they'll admit Pete should be in the Hall of Fame. Everybody that knows baseball will never deny the fact that, Pete Rose should not be in the Hall. He should be in the Hall of Fame. If you know baseball, if you know anything, I mean, hell, if you come up to me and say, well, 3 balls is a walk in baseball, I know everything about baseball. And I know you're a dumbass for telling me that shit. But you tell me Pete Rose deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, I still have respect for me. I still respect Edmund Ortiz. Hey, welcome, Edmund. Appreciate it. Edmund's on Twitter, local journalist for San Antonio. Does some great work. I read a lot of his pieces. He roots for the Horns, but he fears the SEC performance early on. Don't worry about it. The only one that's worried about it is Gio, because the Horns.
No, I'm not.
And I'm not a Horn fan, but Gio's the only one that's worried about the Horns in the SEC, because they're about to put boot to asses in the SEC when it comes to the.
Really, that's what you're saying for your sake. I hope it's true. But
Gio,
we'll see what happens in that schedule. If when they play Kentucky, they gotta go to Arkansas. Could be a rainy day. I don't know. Like,
what's the problem with rainy days? We have rainy days in Texas. They just don't happen in Arkansas at all.
There's something about SEC games that in those random places. But listen, he deserves. Listen, the committee put Mike Mussina in the Hall of Fame. I don't have really high things to say. Pudge Rodriguez, who, by the way,
I will fight you on Pudge.
Pudge has been rumored. He started in Texas. Texas has a history of steroid use. Yeah. Pudge gets in. I mean, come on. And he lost a ton of weight in Detroit. I think he made a comment about him eating a bunch of salads and walking. Dude, give me a break, man. This is ridiculous. Baseball is ridiculous. Listen, Jeff Bagwell for years, Mike Piazza, Big Papi was on that steroid list.
You know, Papi. Okay, Papi. I'm sorry. I'm on the fence. I'm on the legit ledge on Papi because on one small case, yeah, but on a big case, nah, he doesn't deserve it. It's kind of hard to put him in the hall.
Listen, he has the numbers, but he's on that. Manny was on the list too, and I don't think Manny's in, right, Rudy?
No, I don't believe he is.
So there's so many guys on that list, but somehow, some way, Barry, sure, he's not a nice guy, and I'm sure Rudy knows this. He's a terrible person, but
so Michael Jordan.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter, right? He should be in the Hall of Fame. And for Pete Rose, yes, it's time to Rock's point. These older generation people, if you're a Hall of Famer, yes or no? It took the guy in Seattle, what's his name? Edgar Martinez. It took him 9 years to get in?
Yeah.
So Edgar's finally a Hall of Famer after 9 years. You're either in or you're out. That's just my opinion on that.
Dude, I mean, you know, Rock's not going to know this. I doubt he does. And if he does, I mean, that's a really big kick in the balls for me because I'm just assuming he doesn't know this. But those early Mariner teams with Griffey, Tino Martinez, Edgar Martinez, Jay Buhner, Randy Johnson.
They traded. Oh my God.
Those were so fucking good.
I know Griffey and Randy Johnson.
Oh man, you missed out on like Jay Buhner, Martinez, like Edgar Martinez, Tino Martinez. Those teams were legit. Those are one of those teams where you think, how in the F did they not win a World Series? They just caught the wrong teams at the wrong time.
Well, they caught the Yankees towards the back of that dynasty run, and they didn't have Randy. How do you not re-sign him, Rudy? How do you let that man walk out of your building in his prime? I don't think that he's worth the money. Insane to me that one of the most terrible Mariner, and they've had a bunch of them, but that one there, Randy Johnson, you let him go. Speaking of Randy Johnson, real quick, he's a photographer now for the NFL, Rudy, which is kind of cool.
I know. I saw that, maybe a month ago I saw that post about him being an NFL photographer. Rock, can you get me a photographer job somewhere? You work in journalism.
Yeah,
not modeling. I'm not doing any damn modeling.
Never mind.
Stuff.
I was gonna say
I'm not lifting this physique for nobody. Look at that. I have muscles, Gio. A little bit. I have a little bit.
What about you can do photography of you eating tacos.
I haven't eaten a taco in going on almost 5 years, man.
Rudy,
eating?
Rudy, why have you not? Rudy, come on. Why haven't you had a taco in 5 years? You can have a healthy taco.
What is a healthy taco?
There's healthy tacos.
What is a healthy? Explain to me what a healthy taco is.
So you have almond flour tortillas. You have different types of tortillas.
Wheat tortillas.
I don't need wheat. I mean,
with
wheat tortillas now.
Chicken, steak, whatever the case you want.
Chicken on Rudy, steak really? In a taco? Are you kidding me?
No, if you want high protein, I mean, hey, that's.
I don't know. I really don't know, man. Because
in 5 years, Rudy, come on, 5 years, and you live in Texas. That's Gio, crazy.
I have not had like Mexican food in almost 5 years. The only thing I've had at a Mexican place outside of, probably Galdo or whatever,
Yeah.
is probably a taco salad, which the last time I ate it was with Rock at
Yep.
the local joint. Oh God, what is it? Oh my God, I moved from
Essentially the P.
Panchitos
Panchitos, yeah,
restaurant
Panchitos.
on
Yep.
McCullough. That was the last time I ate something outside of soup at a Mexican restaurant.
That's crazy, Rudy.
It's very crazy. You know what? I'm going to shock you even more. I haven't had Italian in almost 5 years. I haven't had a single drop of
Rudy, what?
spaghetti, lasagna, nothing.
Not to be nosy, what are you eating?
I eat air. I eat grass. So I I eat Chipotle is pretty much my go-to. Freebirds is my go-to. No burritos, just straight bowl.
Yeah.
Jersey Mike, shout out to Jersey Mike's and Kenny Anderson. Kenny Anderson's a big Jersey Mike's guy. I eat the tub and a sub. It's so weird. I go in there, I'm like, hey, give me the chicken Philly. Oh, okay, cool. But you know what? Let me get it in a tub. People see it making it, put lettuce, everything in there, and they're like, you can get that in a salad form. I said, you can get anything you want in a salad form. I am the taller version of Danny DeVito when it comes to commercials for Jersey Mike, because I still the hell out of those damn tubs. But outside of that, bro, I don't really eat a whole lot. I mean, I eat soups, I eat salads. If I eat a burger, I eat it with no bun.
Okay.
I eat a lot of chicken. I mean, I eat different stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know what else to eat. And I mean, the good thing we're here, Edmund Ortiz, does fake meat in a corn tortilla count as a healthy taco?
I have my thoughts on vegan fake stuff. I'm gonna say no, but
I meant to ask you. Edmund brought it up. What the hell is fake meat?
Like tofu.
he's probably talking about that Rock that meat nowadays, like the meatless.
It's a certain word for it.
I forgot what it is, but yeah, no, those I mean, look, if you're counting calories and it fits in your calorie macros, sure. If you read the labels of those things, they have like 50 ingredients on them, so maybe not the healthiest thing in the world, but hey, you know what? You pick your battles.
But you know what? Like I mean, meat in general, chicken, all that's protein. So I'm all up for that. But okay, good example. We go to a steakhouse and we'll just throw it out there. We'll throw Longhorn Steakhouse out there. I don't even know if Gio knows what a Longhorn Steakhouse is.
Pretty, come on. Of course I know what Longhorn Steakhouse is.
No, so we go to a steakhouse. My wife will order, she'll order the steak because we eat it the same way. She'll order a steak, and if it's like a 10 ounce, she'll cut me, a little bit off of it. And that's my steak right there. Or I'll go, I'll get the chicken or something like that with the salad and maybe a soup or something like that. So it's not like I'm not eating the bad stuff anymore. And the worst thing I eat is chips, like chips at all. That's all I eat. And I'm talking corn chips. I eat Fritos every now and then. And that's probably the worst thing I eat. Oh, I got to ask Tim, how am I turning into Mike Jimenez? I haven't said one wrong thing. I haven't said the Spurs suck. I haven't said Jeremy Sohan needs to be traded. I haven't said anything wrong when it comes to any Spurs. I haven't.
That Mike has a story for everything. He's met everybody too.
Mike, apparently I tell tall tales too, which I don't have very many tall tales. So explain to me how I became Mike and the Mike Jimenez. Chris Gonzalez says, what happened, Tim? You know what, Chris, if we could find out what happened, I'd love to find out how I turned into Mike Jimenez. All I talked about was I don't need Mexican food hardly anymore. I don't need Italian food anymore. So that's
I do eat Mexican food. My girlfriend's Mexican, so
yeah, we love Mexican. We love Mexican women.
That's a Mexican staple.
Hey, brother,
but
dating a
to
Mexican
Rudy's
girl,
point,
to
Rudy's point, I do try to keep it healthy, to a certain extent. But sometimes when I go out to, for dinner, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna have something good, and then I'm gonna hit back to the gym. So I mean,
well, okay, so let's get back on that part, because this is my problem. If it's a legit problem, maybe you understand. If it's not, then it's all in my head. I did the whole diet thing a long time ago, and I ate healthy. I lost weight. I was losing weight, and then it turned into, you know what? I'm gonna have a cheat meal. I'm gonna have a cheat day. So we'd go have a cheat meal. I'd have a cheat day, do this, do that. And then that cheat meal went from, you know what, fuck life. I'm going back to food because it made me happy. And I gained all the way back. So I feel if I even have as small of a thing as a cheat meal, that I'm just going to give into it again. And I'm going to go back to being the great big old fat guy that I once was. Is that
I see where you're coming.
concern?
I think you know yourself, Rudy, right? So I think we all know each other. And I think to Rudy's point, look, he knows himself. He's done this before. So I definitely do respect Rudy's, not eating a taco in 10 years. If that's what it takes, Rudy, then
about 10 years,
but no, I do think Rudy does make a good point, and he knows himself. And if he feels like, hey, if I start eating like this, it's gonna go down a, wrong path here. So
hey,
no,
Rock's been a part of this. Rock's been a part of this for me as well.
No, he has. I mean,
he's been around.
In a way, would you say that you're on a keto diet kind of?
Well, I don't know because everybody asked me the same damn
he's
thing.
probably low carb.
Are you on keto?
Yeah, I'm low carb.
I don't know because for me, it's just calorie count. If I eat less calories and I burn, more calories, that's how I look at it as calorie. I don't really look at carbs. I don't look at anything. But I guess if you describe it one way, it could be keto. If you describe it another way, it could be low carb. That I don't know. So I guess the reason why I might commit is because I'm not eating Mexican food anymore. I did not say I don't love Mexican. I love anything and all thing Mexican. I mean, hell, I'm Mexican on my own, even though I've got, the Anglo look. I'm still Mexican 100%. I do dabble into some Tejano music. So again, I'm not Mike Jimenez on that, even though he hates Tejano.
Rudy, do you have a cowboy hat?
I do not own a cowboy hat.
Do you have
Dallas
like
cowboy nor the regular cowboy? I do not.
Super tight jeans and like the cowboy boots?
Because I've lost weight, I have gotten the slim fit jeans. Yeah. They feel different because I have no ass to fill it in, so it's kind of weird. But I do have I don't have any cowboy boots. I do have the tight jeans.
That's crazy, Rudy.
I don't have cowboy boots either.
Okay, so right. I don't have cowboy
boots. Maybe I have a bad misconception.
Yeah, we don't have tumbleweeds outside, tumbleweeds, and I don't have a trough in my front yard where my horse, goes to drink.
I'll say this: if I ever move to Texas, there's a good possibility I will in the future. I will buy cowboy boots. Record it.
If you come to Texas and you live here and you buy cowboy boots, I will buy me a pair of cowboy boots. You and I will, and you know what? Brock will probably end up buying one. But
you should get some alligator boots.
Oh my god, alligator boots. So Chris Gonzalez, it's soda sweet tea. I haven't had sweet tea in the same amount of time. I haven't had a soda, which I'm lying because this past weekend I had a Crown Royal Blackberry with a Sprite. So
that sounds good. Wait, was it a zero sugar Sprite or was it just regular
Sprite? No, I'm not gonna lie, dude. Oh my god, Crown Blackberry with Sprite. There's a reason why I have a bruise on my nose, and there's a reason why my fence has a dent outside because apparently I can't handle my liquor when I'm drinking Blackberry and Sprite. So that
does actually sound really good.
It is amazing. Now, Rock is probably you've tried it. Have you tried it, Rock, or no?
No, I haven't tried it. It does sound good though.
Okay, Blackberry, Crown Royal Blackberry and Sprite. It's good. I mean, I love it to death. So I have had soda recently. I'm sorry. I mean,
I'm not the biggest soda guy, but Sprite Zero is pretty good.
Sprite Zero. I have to try it with Sprite. Yeah. So JC's hey, shout out to JC because I do drink a lot of a special leaf tea. I mean, that is actually good, and I do drink it a lot. Get it out at HEB, at local HEB market. I mean, you can get it there as well. Miss Vicky's chips can't go wrong. I haven't tried them.
Those are actually good, man. Those are good with a sub.
Never had them.
So yeah. They're called sour cream puffs. They're veggie puffs. I buy those.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's big ass bag, but I eat the whole bag for a meal because it's only like 400 calories. That's it. I drink a shitload of water, for any of the sodium. Josh Miller here, Rudy on the torta diet. I don't know about the torta diet at all, man.
Damn, my brother's coming for you.
He is. I can't, man. Josh,
hey, but you know what? I did know Rudy back when he was
the great big fat guy. Just say it. It's okay.
He was a big boy. He was a big one, and I was pretty. I was much bigger back then too. So
hey. Rudy's gone from looking like Tyron Smith to looking like Kyle Pitts in his prime.
Yeah.
Oh my god! If I could only look like Kyle Pitts in my prime. Sparkling water, Tim. Yes, I would say 90% about 80% of my drinks is sparkling water. So I do drink a lot of that.
Do you like Topo?
I have yet to try that.
Wow.
I need to try that. But the sparkling water I get is the flavor. It's at HEB. You can get them. I can't even remember offhand what it is, but yeah, it's like the flavor lemon, lime, grape, stuff like that. I drink a lot of that stuff. So yeah, that's my diet in a nutshell. I'm glad that we're talking about my unnecessary weight loss here, because back in the day, I would make Jabba the Hutt look like Richard Simmons. So definitely gives you an idea. And he's not the tortas he thinks I'm talking about. I know exactly what torta you are talking about, Josh.
I love tortas. Like, and
Well,
I'm
which
talking
one?
about.
You're talking about food. Yeah, you're
I'm talking about food here. I don't know what that
Yeah,
other thing is. I'm just talking about the food.
Well,
No comment.
when you come to Texas, we'll introduce you to that type of torta. Definitely. Hey, this is Sweep the League. When we get back, we're gonna unveil my bracket for these guys to cheat off of, because apparently they're gonna need help filling out the bracket for our Sweep the League bracket challenge. And also, when we get back, we're gonna talk some NFL, because Justin Jefferson on the move. Does that make sense for the Vikings? We'll talk about it when we get back here. We'll go to a quick commercial break. This is Sweep the League. We'll be back.
Locked on Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked on Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at Jeff G Ken's 5 SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at Jeff G Spurs Zone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow, not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@Locked On Spurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
That is Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs, part of the Locked On Network. Definitely go to YouTube. Go just follow him. I have Jeff G Spurs Zone. Go follow him on Twitter or X, whatever the hell it is right now. So go follow Jeff Garcia. I always get that screwed up. I don't even know what it is anymore, to be honest with you, man.
I think
All right, just grow the beard and you're all good. I can't. So if I grow the beard and I go back to being a fat guy, I mean, that's just terrible, right? I mean, does the beard make me look fat if I grow it if I'm skinny? Or not? I'm not even skinny if I'm thin.
No.
What would the beard do?
It actually makes, I think it goes, depending on how it looks on your face, could kind of work out to make it look slimmer even.
So I've grown it before when I lived in Ohio, and it just looks like the puberty look, man. Like, it's just terrible. It's like,
Rudy, you got to tame it. You have to pick it out. You got to put the beard oil in there. You got to beard butter sometimes.
I even had the Hulk Hogan handlebar stash, and for whatever reason, I thought, you know what? Let me get the goatee. Well, I could never get the hair to grow in right here, so it was just like unconnected. It was like that painting. I can't remember the painting offhand where God and the angel are just trying to touch. I mean, they just would never touch at all, man. So honestly, I just keep it shaved.
I'm going to go on the Face app. I'm going to take a photo of Rudy, and I'm going to put a beard. And I'm going to post it and show him this is what Rudy looks like with a beard.
You got to tag me a rock on social media, because I would love to see what I would look. On tomorrow's show, I have a good question for y'all. It's involved with March Madness. If you got a March Madness question, Tim, you can ask it now. We're going to get into my bracket here. Skinny guys and beards are all the rage. Trust me. I can't do the beard thing, man. It starts to itch. We'll figure it out here. We'll figure it out. Just like these guys are going to try to figure out my bracket. So get your pen and paper ready. You guys definitely want to copy my bracket. I see Gio getting ready to take a screenshot of this. This is the bracket, the championship bracket that I have filled out here. So in the East, gentlemen, I've got UConn, Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, Auburn, BYU, Illinois, and Drake and Iowa State all winning the first round. Any surprises there? Any team there that you guys think that I got wrong? Because if that's the case, then just leave, because you guys are wrong, period.
I agree with you. I mean, I had Drake going in as an upset.
Gio, you see anything wrong with this bracket, or did you already copy it? Because I need to move on.
I do like Drake.
The school or the guy? Are you throwing your bra at his
No,
concert?
no. I'm talking about the team Drake. I mean the actual college team. So Duke, well, you actually got Duke going far. That's actually pretty surprising. I don't love the Marquette, but I also don't love Kentucky this year. So I could definitely see Marquette. I think it's a good.
Oh, you're going to the other side already, the South. Okay, well, look at the South. I'm sorry. We'll
No.
go
Sorry, I was just kind of.
No, take a look at my bracket. Go ahead and bask in its glory, Gio. You too, Rock. If you see anything right there from the South or what is it, the East bracket, let me know. Let me know because
I'm gonna wait till you go through it.
okay. So I mean, we'll go to the other side, South. So I do have Houston winning. I have Nebraska winning. I have Wisconsin and Duke. I have NC State, Kentucky, Florida, Marquette. This is kind of the one where I'm expecting, okay, these are the bigger schools are probably going to come out on this bracket. And going to the next round, I've got Houston meeting Duke. I've got Kentucky meeting Marquette. Again, kind of keeping it simple, I have Houston beating the ever-living shit out of Duke. And then I have Marquette actually beating Kentucky. I'm not sold on Kentucky. And then I've got Houston beating Marquette going into the Final Four. Now, if I go the other side, UConn definitely beats FAU. Auburn will beat San Diego State. You've got Illinois, who I think is a legit sleeper in this tournament. Illinois beating BYU and Drake beating Iowa State. But then UConn meeting Illinois with Illinois beating UConn going into the Final Four. Tear it apart, people. Tear it apart.
I like Illinois a lot. I think the upset, or not upset, but I think they beat UConn.
Yes, I think so too. Their guard play is like magnificent.
I mean, I would be worried about that second round for UConn with FAU. I mean, they just went to the Final Four. It's going to be a tough matchup for UConn. I mean, if UConn goes up a team that can score, it's going to be really tough for them.
And you know what? It's tough for a team to repeat, like they say in the NCAA tournament. It's really tough, but if a team can do it, it could be UConn. I just think with them being – were they the number one overall seed or was it Houston?
Houston, I think.
It was Houston.
No, it's UConn. It's UConn.
It's UConn. I think they got a pretty shitty draw in that bracket because – Illinois is tough. Illinois is super tough. Let's go down to obviously you see my national championship there because that's a guarantee. Let's go down. We're going to the West and the Midwest. Before we go, Josh, beard or not, still a torta magnet, but he'd be running after them. That's losing weight. Yes, I will admit that probably so. I'm losing weight to get the tortas, as Josh is putting it, even though that's not even the case, but we'll go with Josh. Josh wants to troll me all day tomorrow. We can do that. If not tomorrow, how about we save it for trolling Thursday? Thursday we'll do trolling Rudy all day, all night. We'll keep it like that. So we'll use Thursday's show as the trolling show. He has UConn all the way. I'm sorry, Tim. UConn's not going to get to the Final Four. It's going to be Illinois. Chris Gonzalez, I think in my first pass of the bracket, I have a lot of upsets. There's actually going to be a good amount of upsets. I really, really feel. Early on, AC Network was watching ACC PM, and they asked the greatest ACC game of all time. But question for all three was greatest game you ever saw. Ooh, I'm gonna get back to that one here. We'll get back to that one. So let's go to the West. Of course, the greatest school in the history of college, North Carolina, is going to make it to the second round. There's no doubt about that. They're going to meet up with Michigan State. Grand Canyon is the grandest school of all because they're going to pull up one of the that's over St. Mary's. Alabama does beat Charleston. New Mexico with another upset over Clemson. Baylor will beat Colgate. And then you've got Nevada beating Dayton and Arizona beating Long Beach State. Those are my first round passes there. Carolina does take care of Michigan State. You're going to have Grand Canyon beating Alabama. That's going to be awesome. You're going to have Baylor beating New Mexico and Arizona beating Baylor, to which North Carolina meets Arizona. And this is where I get shit from all you guys because how are you a North Carolina Tar Heel fan? You're supposed to support Carolina. Not so fast, my friend. I support Carolina. I love North Carolina. But when I'm filling out a bracket, I understand. Arizona is the better team I take Arizona in that bracket. Gio, Rock, you got anything, or you want me to go on to the next side?
Grand Canyon, I agree, man. I mean, their head coach is the brother of Scott Drew for Baylor, and he's been in the tournament before, so I'm confident in Grand Canyon. I don't know about them over Bama. I mean, I'm a big Bama type of guy, but I had Bama losing to North Carolina, so.
I like though. I think Kansas to me. I'm not, and I know they messed up my parlay a few weeks ago, but I think Samford could upset Kansas. Kansas has some injury issues, so
I think Kansas is you're 100% right on the Kansas part. It's kind of the scary ones because Samford does have the opportunity. I think that they probably could beat Kansas, but it's one of man, it's so tough. I think Kansas basically exudes all of its energy that first round, and that's why I have them losing to McNeese in the second round. McNeese is a scary good team. I think they upset Gonzaga easily, and I think they upset Gonzaga, and I actually have them beating Kansas because Kansas, you're right, definitely is not a capable powerhouse this year. I have McNeese State going all the way to play Purdue.
Wow.
I mean, Rudy, didn't they win like 30 games?
Yes.
They were actually a pretty talented.
No, they are. But I'm just surprised. Damn. That's bold. I like it.
That's why I say. I mean, y'all, you guys want to play with the best. I mean, you're going to play with the best right here. And I know when I look at y'all's brackets later, it's going to be identical here. You're going to change one or two because you have to. You don't want to be. You don't want to be tied with the first place guy here. You want to battle for second.
And see, Rudy, that's what I love about college basketball, March Madness. It's so unpredictable. It's just always great matchups all around. And if a team that can make Nice all the way, that's going to go insane.
Do you guys think Purdue goes down again as the number one seed?
Yes. I'm not a Purdue guy.
But and this is why I have Purdue in the Final Four, and I have them going in the Final Four because I really think that it's kind of a mismatch in that Midwest bracket for them, where I think they can get to the Final Four, but there is no way in hell they're beating Houston in the Final Four. I think they get to the Final Four, but they end up losing to Houston in the Final Four.
Yeah, Houston. I mean, what they did to Kansas a few weeks, or I think it was last or 2 weeks ago, it was a demolition job. I mean, for Purdue to beat Houston, but like you said, Rudy, Purdue. I mean, I live not too far from their arena. If they get eliminated in the first 2 rounds, their coach is probably gone. I think Painter's probably out the door, but Purdue seems to. They can't seem to put a good run together.
No, and like I said, I think they run through their part of the bracket. They have a little bit of trouble with some of their teams. I think Tennessee and possibly McNeese. I think McNeese could give them a run, but I do have them winning that bracket. I just don't see them beating Houston at all. But in the end, I have Illinois, Arizona, Houston, Purdue, and I've got Arizona beating Illinois. I've got Houston beating Purdue, and Arizona beating Houston. That's my bracket. So if you guys want to copy, I will definitely leave it up there for you guys to copy for a little bit.
Well, the beauty of March Madness is, for all we know, we're going to get FAU and McNeese State in the Final Four. That's just the beauty of it all. Man, Gio, you and Rock, I'm gonna say something dumb here, and it's dumb, but the way that the committee set up this bracket, it was terrible this year.
Not so much that it was terrible, but I can definitely see a teams like Drake, Grand Canyon, and McNeese, any of them going all the way to the Final Four easily. I mean, I could, if I had an extra, $500, I would put $500 on one of those teams making it.
I think in the next decade we will get a mid-major Rudy as a national champion.
You almost had it with Gonzaga. I mean, that's when they were considered mid-major.
Yeah, they've kind of formed into I don't want to say a major because their conference is still small, but but yeah, I think watch out for FAU. That's a team I think.
Yeah,
if they get on a run. Yale against Auburn. I'm not saying Yale, will upset them, but that's another interesting game at 4 against 13.
I'm not even so sure about UAB and San Diego State. I think I just took San Diego State just because in that game. I really don't. I think UAB has a chance to upset, in that game as well. But I mean, you're right about FAU, Florida Atlantic. The only reason why I don't have them going any further is because they run up against UConn in the second round. That's it. If they're not playing UConn in the second round, I have them into the Sweet 16 probably. I mean, possibly the Elite Eight. It's possible with Florida Atlantic. So that's my bracket. For all of you guys out there that want to copy it, by all means, go ahead and jump on ESPN, copy it. St. Mary's might get knocked out. I think St. Mary's gets knocked out.
Going back to the committee route, I don't know how the hell Texas drew a 7 seed. After the loss to Kansas State, I figured it would be 8 or 9 seed. Yeah. And I saw 7, and I was like so surprised. But I have Texas losing to Tennessee also. It's going to be a disappointing year, but it is what it is.
It's always disappointing.
The women's basketball has better chance of winning it all.
Yeah, Gio and I talked yesterday. Women's basketball has my eye this season on March Madness compared to the
Caitlin Clark, the girl
Paige
from USC.
Bukers, Cameron Brady, Juju Watkins, Angel Reese.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a ton of. Now that LSU Louisville second round matchup in the women's, that's going to be kind of interesting. Right?
Have you filled out a bracket yet for women's?
I have not, but I kind of need to. What is more shocking? All 4 number ones making it, or no upset? No upset.
No upset.
No upset is probably the more shocking one. Let me get back to Tim's question here. For all the 3 of y'all, what was the greatest game you ever saw? I'll give y'all a chance to think about it, but man, there's so many games in college basketball that I remember that I want to forget. A la Villanova, North Carolina. Gio brought that up one show back. The greatest game I ever saw, and good God, you guys are gonna give me so much shit, and it's not even funny. The greatest game I ever saw was Kentucky versus Duke, where Leitner hit that shot. And he beat, the Kentucky team with Jamal Mashburn. As much as I hate that effing school, and as much as I hate Christian Leitner, I will admit that is probably one of the greatest games that I've ever seen. The back and forth between those games. Leitner should have been ejected, Gio, for stomping on the chest. He should have been ejected, but no, you left, Christian Leitner in the game, and look what happened. Turnaround jump shot from the free throw line, money, bang, rest is history. I will say, as much as it pains me to say that, as much as my testicles are just aching right now for saying it, that game probably has to be one of the greatest games I've ever seen.
I mean, there are a lot of games. That North Carolina Villanova game was actually good.
Why?
They had the highlights not too long ago, being played, and I thought that game was a really good game. For me, some different parts growing up. I mean, Duke against Butler when they won the national championship. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was such a close game.
Gordon Hayward makes that shot. It's history.
Literal history.
Oh
that's
God.
A game. Freddie, do you remember that? It was in the Big East, I think. Connecticut versus Syracuse, like 4 overtimes.
When Kemba Walker went off?
Yeah. That was.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes. I remember that game.
That was like, 120-something to 120-something. Yes. Kansas versus Memphis in 2008. How about Steph Curry, with Davidson having that run? I think they beat Kentucky, right, Rudy? I believe that season. When they had Kirk Cousins, when they had Cousins and John Wall.
Yep.
So many great memories. I think Duke versus Maryland, with Jason Williams and was it Carlos Boozer, Shane Battier. So many good games. It's hard to point out just one game, right, Rudy? It's just so many games from different times, whether that's from the conference tournaments, obviously March Madness. I felt last year Purdue going down as a number 1 seed against a team that was just the speed was just too much for Purdue to handle. But no, it's just so many games.
There's a crap load, man. I mean, Carolina, Michigan, the title game, Weber's timeout. I mean, that's a classic because of Chris Webber making that mistake. But I mean, you've got so many memorable games in college basketball. I mean, it's hard. Even a local guy from Lanier High School, Orlando Mendez Valdez. I mean, he had a nice little run in the tournament at that time. George Mason, they're bringing up George Mason with that run.
Yeah.
I mean, college sports in general is this shit. I prefer it over
1,000%.
pro every day of the week.
Oh no, yeah.
1,000%.
The atmosphere of college games, especially when you go to football as well, like it's just not the same. It's not the same.
You got one, Rock, or you're already?
No, I think I agree with Villanova, North Carolina. It's a crazy game.
Why? Why?
Dude, it was just crazy.
It was just back and forth.
It was just one of those games you remember exactly where you were when it happened, and it was just unreal. I think any game when you saw Jimmer in it, just Jimmer in college was just so fun to watch. You know,
Yeah.
it was just like a Linsanity run. You know what he had, but just I love college sports in general. It's like so unpredictable. That's what makes it so great. You know, people live and die for their college teams. You know, me personally with UT. So, but UT's been in so much heartbreak. I'm not counting on them to go far, but there's just been so many good games. But I would say Villanova, North Carolina, and it's so many I can't think of.
Yeah, it's a lot out
Also,
there. What's up?
During our lifetime, we had 2 16 seeds be a number one. We had the UMBC upset Virginia. I mean,
Yep.
Wasn't
it's like-
Kansas one of the ones that got upset?
I think they may have been a number 2 or 3
that was a
seed.
2.
They got upset by wasn't it Florida Gulf Coast that year?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's St. Peter's.
Yeah, same.
I mean, it's you talk about great games, and then you also have great runs in the tournaments. I mean, just teams.
Yeah.
I think for me, like the George Mason run was probably one of the, at least for me, like vivid memory, like one of the first big runs of those 2000s.
Yeah.
And
that's
also
what we're
Gonzaga too. Like
I mean,
the
early
early
Gonzaga.
years. Yeah, like
Early
the earlier
Gonzaga.
years. Yeah.
Adam
Early
Wilson.
Gonzaga. Oh god, that guy's trash, man. That guy's
Brady,
cold.
show some respect. Come on.
That guy's trash.
He was a good college player.
He was a good college player. I mean, that's all he was. He was a good college player. I mean, I guess you could say the same about Christian Laettner. But nonetheless,
Hey, Christian Laettner made an all-star team.
Yeah, by default.
And he was also on the dream team. Hey, he was on the dream team, Brady. Stop
Don't
it.
get me started
Stop
on the
it.
dream team. That was pure bull ass, man. There's no reason why Laettner should have been on the dream team. No reason why Laettner.
Christian made an all-star team. Hey, he was predominantly a role player in his career. And hey, you know what? Sometimes it happens. Not every North Carolina Rudy great was great in the NBA, okay?
How many greats from Duke are in the NBA?
There's a lot of them. Grant
Who?
Hill was a good player. Kyrie
Grant Hill?
Irving.
Okay, so
Tatum?
for your Grant Hill, which Tatum hasn't accomplished anything, Kyrie Irving is a champion.
Wait.
But who else? I mean, I raise you one Michael Jordan against all your guys.
Okay, Michael in college was different than Michael in the NBA. But
It doesn't. I just said.
I'm just
who
saying
from Duke has transferred to the NBA that has actually done anything. I mean,
there's
for
a
real.
number of players.
Who? I raised you.
I
Michael
just
Jordan
named a
against
few.
anybody.
Okay, okay, Rudy, you have the freaking go. Okay, whoop-de-doo. Okay, what a surprise. Michael's going to eclipse every Duke player, and it's not even close.
So so we'll do what? Mike Worthy, James Worthy. I mean, just give me those two. That trumps everybody, every accomplishment that a Duke player has had in the NBA.
Well,
And
yeah,
just
look,
two
I mean, some of Duke's players have had stints. I thought Elton Brand for a while was really good in the NBA.
He was serviceable.
He was an all-star. Had a big contract. Zion Williamson, his path is still yet to be written.
His path is still at Golden Corral, bro.
Well, hey, he looked. Hey, for not the injury though, Rudy, you must admit Jay Williams would have been a really good NBA player.
Out of every Duke player, I would say Jay Williams would have had probably the best career so far. I think he would have had a really good career. Not for injury, Grant Hill probably would have been the best Duke player to come out. I'll go on a limb and say that. Definitely. Everybody, that's what I was telling you. Everybody, you can get me 100% on Laettner had the better college career. I will never, ever deny that. And again, pains me to say, golly, it hurts. But when I talk college basketball, I consider Christian Laettner one of the best college basketball players of all time. I'll put him in that category. But when it comes to NBA standards, Christian Laettner, I mean, what is he? What is he, man? I mean, Rasheed Wallace had a better NBA career. Jerry Stackhouse had a better NBA career. I mean, we're gonna leave it at that, man. We're gonna leave it at that.
Listen, Rudy, Duke has had successful players. North Carolina's had successful players. I'll leave it at that.
I don't know. But hey, the question that remains is, what has Texas done? Absolutely jack shit.
KD.
Hey, Kevin,
Come on.
TJ Ford.
hey, LaMarcus in his heyday was an outstanding mid-range shooter. Probably one of the better big men shooters of his day. But yeah. Texas.
I mean, I you know what? Before we go, I'm gonna admit one thing, because we didn't get to Justin Jefferson. We'll get to Justin Jefferson tomorrow or on Thursday. But I will say this, and Tim always saying that I bring up Duke players, and yes, I follow so much sports. I will admit I do talk, about Duke Blue Devils, but I went on a podcast a couple of years back, and it was a college basketball podcast, and I was put on the spot. If I had to pick one Duke player that I would have loved to have seen in a Tar Heel uniform, who would it have been? You would never guess the one player who I picked to be on a Tar Heel uniform out of Duke. I'll give you one guess, you. You got to turn your mic on. It's off.
Do you mean Grant Hill?
No, actually, no. The one player that I said I would take off of Duke, put him on a Tar Heel uniform, was Trajan Langdon, of all guys.
He was good. Yeah, he was another one.
He was a shooter. I mean, and back then Tar Heels, I'd love to have shooters team. That's why Joseph Forte is my all-time favorite Tar Heel. So,
hey, we still got Paolo's out there. With the Magic,
Paolo's getting good. He's getting good.
Mm-hmm. He's hooping.
So, Chris Gonzalez, we're not talking NBA. We're talking about college basketball. Okay, college basketball. Yes, I would say Duke has more accomplished players in college. I'll admit to that. I'm not Mike Jimenez where I just say bullshit and don't mean it. I'm saying that Duke in college basketball terms, yeah, they probably have more accomplished players. Laettner alone is way more accomplished than the North Carolina guy. I mean, I'll be 100% on that.
And Rudy, you know why you win with North Carolina? Because y'all have the legend Danny Green.
Danny Green is a legend.
Danny Green, Gio.
And Duke has the legend of Danny Ferry.
Oh, God.
Duke has Austin Rivers.
Who?
Austin Rivers, go watch his high school. In high school, Austin was the real thing. Yeah, he was that guy.
If you say so. I'm not watching Austin River highlights, man. I'm not. I don't even want to watch Dr.
Hey, you know what? If Kobe would actually went to Duke, he would have been.
How good, man? You know what? We can't get into this conversation because this is a conversation for another day. How good of a college basketball player would Kobe have been? How good of a college basketball player would Kevin Garnett have been had he gone to college? I mean, LeBron is another one. Wasn't LeBron supposed to go to Duke? If I'm not, or Ohio State? Was it Ohio State?
I think Ohio State, but I imagine Duke would have been recruiting him.
I mean, the players that could have gone on to college careers and made the name for themselves is unreal. But we'll save that for another day. In fact, we may even save it for when Derek comes back on the show. This is we didn't get a Justin Jefferson talk. We'll get into that talk a little bit later. But again, join us during the week. We're going to do this 4:00 thing, Central Standard Time, probably for the rest of the time now. Barely doing it this late. You guys can take us on your drive home with you. We'll make sure you get home safe and sound and with a bunch of laughs. So for Coach Gio, for The Rock, it is really complicated. Until we sweep the league again next year, we'll see you next year, tomorrow.
Wow, next year already?
Next year, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Till we sweep the league again next time. We'll see you later, knuckleheads.